Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight is the fourth game in the Momodora series of games by Bombservice. Bombservice is a small development team of 4 people who wanted to make games similar to the classics of the 80s and 90s. This latest entry takes place 400 years before the events of the first game. Momodora is a metroidvania 2D platformer that is very reminiscent of Super Nintendo era games. The retro style is tempered with more modern refinements in the controls and the graphics. What this game promises is to bring back those memories when playing a game meant you got wrecked so hard that you wanted to throw the controller at the TV. Momodora's got you covered here. If you like hard games, then be prepared for what it has to throw at you. There are 3 different difficulty levels, and sometimes even at normal difficulty you'll come to points where you have to repeat the same section multiple times just to get past it. Some of the bosses even have that Dark Souls level of get fucked. When you get hit in Momodora, you get hit hard, even by the random enemies that litter the levels. You'll be fighting one baddie, and the next second a bolt of something will come from the side and kill you. But it's not unfair difficulty. The controls are tight enough that you can get through anything as long as you have the patience to do so. In Momodora, your village is in trouble, and you're on a journey to get to the queen to ask for aid. As you move through the game, you discover that your quest won't be easy, and you'll have to get through some big bosses on the way. The story is a bit vague, but as you move through the game, you learn little pieces that make it a bit more clear. I found the world to be interesting, even though story elements are few and far between. It adds a little bit of extra incentive to move through the game. The game will take you anywhere from 7 to 10 hours to complete, and is full of platforming and boss fighting goodness throughout. It's easy to pick up and play at any time, since the game has plenty of save points. The save points remind me of the bonfires in Dark Souls with the way they're placed throughout the maps. If you die, you do have to go through the same areas you went through before. This game doesn't hold your hand very much. This makes the progression work very well, and as long as you aren't the kind of person who will completely give up after a few deaths, you'll get a lot of fun out of it. One thing that makes this different than many newer titles that are inspired by retro games is the tightness of the controls. I noticed right away how good they feel, and that's always a good sign. The art style is a lot like other similar retro-inspired games, but are very nice to look at. The enemies that you'll encounter are very well drawn and varied. The boss fights in the game are very clever, and as fun visually as they are to fight. In one of the early fights, you'll fight a well-endowed witch, and you'll be smacking her breasts to defeat her. And if there's anything I can get behind, it's smacking breasts. Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight was a pleasant surprise for me. I went in expecting the same retro-inspired 2D platformers that I've been force-fed for the last couple of years now, and came out of it with a much more enjoyable experience than I had expected. This game may fly under the radar for a lot of people, but I personally think that it should get more time in the limelight. Unfortunately, there are a lot of 2D platformers that are being put out in this vein, and that may have doomed it a bit. But I enjoyed it very much, and I would recommend the game to anyone that loves retro-style Metroidvania platformers. This has been my review of Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight, and I'm Milk Yours from Game Clouds. Have a good night, friends.